And welcome back to the games. So much to be talked about today. I commentate on games. We do game commentaries here, and primarily I'm focused on Star Citizen and other games as well, but Star Citizen really kind of grabs me in a way which other games don't, because it's a game in development. It's a game that we get to see the inside of. We get to see what's going on when it comes to the development of the game. It's very interesting to me. And the community around it's built around it is a mixture of gamers and also people who have backed the game since inception of 2012 that are really whole hog into this, that have a lot of money into this. And I get a lot of questions in our Discord about how are we going to be able to grind to get the uber amazing ships in game. And we're talking about the $300, $400, $500 plus ships in game if I don't want to buy the ship after the game is released. Now that's a discussion to be had in itself. The fact that SIG has told us that the ships will not be sold after the game, I think at this point is a lie from all of the kind of things that I'm digesting from the forums, from Reddit, from the Discord Star Citizen communities that I am in. I really think that that first off needs to be discussed is, why are we okay with the fact that most of us know that the ships are going to be sold after the game is released, when we have been told directly, when directly we have been told by SIG, by Chris, that the ships will not be sold after the game, that is not what is intended to happen. But I don't see any other type of reality where that doesn't happen. It has to happen. It's their only source of revenue besides subscriptions, and subscriptions in themselves I don't think are going to float 5 locations with over 500 employees. I don't think that is really going to end up happening without ships continuing to be sold. It's their primary source of revenue. So that is one talking point. That's one thing that has to be discussed. And what is happening in the real life world where SIG is going to kind of scale back from the ship sales after the game is released. We got a long time till it's released, but it's something that still needs to be talked about within this community, because at this point it's kind of like this blatant slap in the face to me and to a lot of other people, like, you know, something's up there. We need to be talking about this. It needs to be discussed, and it needs to be put in front of the developers, in front of Chris. It needs to be talked about. It's nothing that I see being talked about, and that's what I do here. I bring that type of thing up so that, you know, we need to get this out there. The second thing that I think is that as far as grinding for the credits in the game, we're not quite sure what the economy is going to be when we set foot into this game. We don't know what the economy is going to be. Now, we've been fighting here for a player-driven economy. There's a big vote in our community right now, and it's 52% want a player-driven economy and 48% want an AI-driven economy. We've watched the Tony Zurich panels. It's really an interesting hot topic right now. It's being debated, it's being voted on, and it's great. It's great to see this interaction, because we can see as the game develops that there is this kind of voice that is directly opposed to the manner in which they're going to shape the economy, in which we know how it's going to be shaped, how it's going to be implemented in the game, and that voice needs to be addressed. It does not need to be ignored. In fact, if the game needs to be a successful type of a game to bring in the most people that will make this game successful and bring in the most demographics that it can, that needs to accommodate the industrialists. I think that much can be said as fact, and there are going to be some people that debate that, but from what I'm seeing, it needs to be a voice that needs to be listened to. If it is not listened to, it will be very destructive for the game itself. So that needs to be discussed as well. That's the second talking point. The third talking point is, if the economy is slated for an AI kind of economy, will this be like a fetch quest? Will this be an A to B kind of Elite Dangerous game that a lot of industrialists don't want, and that a lot of PvPers and people that got on board initially for this game don't really give a shit about, because they're just playing for the PvP and the PvE, and they don't really care too much about the economy or it being dynamic. So they're just kind of saying, hey, we're going to give the keys to SIG. We're going to let them do what they want to the economy. There we go. Now, if we get that kind of AI economy, and that's the way that it's placed, even it's programmed to the best that it can be, we have to look at how hard will it be to actually get these Uber type of ships. And that is very tied to how good of a player you are in terms of bringing in credits. And you can do it solo, not so much if the economy's slated towards like an AI kind of economy, in my opinion. Or you can do it with an org. You can kind of tie yourself to an org and work with other players and get those credits that you need in the game to kind of get those Uber ships. Now, we don't want them to be like where everybody's got that ship. So I understand the exclusivity and the rarity of the ship so that we don't have a conga line of Polarises. You know, I understand that. I think that if we had a player-driven economy, it wouldn't be manipulated so much because there would be a lot of players in there that would be competing over pricing. And I think that you'd see like fair market values for the most part with some slight manipulation of pricing. But for the most part, you would see fair value, and just the fact that it was fairly priced, given if it was a player-driven market, would lead to a rarity and exclusivity within those particular range of Uber type of ships. Now, that's again my opinion, but these are good things to talk about because I get this question a lot. People are worried about this grind. They're worried about how long is it going to take me to get these, because everybody wants it. If you think about it, everybody wants these amazing ships. There's not one person that you would say, hey, do you want a Carrack or don't you want a Carrack? And I would tell you that many people would want a Carrack. Or, you know, if you're talking about the larger ships, you know, do you want a Polaris or don't you want a Polaris? People are going to say they want one. Why wouldn't they want one? It's a big ship. It's awesome. You know, they want to own one, but there's a lot of costs involved too. Like, you know, there's another level to this. A lot of people don't think about this. You know, if they do acquire the credits that it takes to get this in the game, which might take a long time or might not, depending upon the skill level of the gamer that is getting into a scenario like this, it is after that is kind of the next step, the amount of costs that it would take in maintaining the ship. And, you know, you're getting into a larger figure as we continue forward. And this is something that a lot of people don't think about, is that next step. You know, like they get to the ship and now they've got this great, amazing ship. And oops, I forgot about that. It's going to take a long time for me to have to actually maintain the ship. I've got to hire a crew. We were talking about like the NPCs and being able to hire NPCs. And if that's something that's still slated to be in the game, and there's debate about that as well. There's a lot of talking points here. I would love to hear your opinions here. This is what this channel is good for. It's great to hear you guys. I love the comments that are heading this way. Please keep them coming. Please like, share, and make sure that you guys are getting your voice down here because it's important. I think that a lot of people kind of just say, oh, this type of talk isn't important. And I think that that's a very ignorant kind of view. I think that's a really ignorant stance for a lot of people, just to say, well, if I just say something on this video, it really doesn't matter. That's kind of bullshit. That's kind of like a defeatist, ignorant kind of stance, thinking that like you being the person that funded the game don't matter. Of course you do. Of course you do. And I think Chris actually holds your opinion as something that is important to him. And I think that the more people fight against this kind of elitist attitude that we see out there, the more the game's going to have a better community. The more that we fight against this like you're wrong and I'm right kind of attitude, and the more we just listen and we actually say, okay, what is it here that people are proposing? What is it that we want in the game, the design of the game? It's not always black and white, especially in this particular type of scenario where the game is being funded as we speak. It's being developed as we speak. It's a narrow kind of mindset to think that we have no say. So it's important that you're actually putting down what it is that you think matters. It's important to me, and it's definitely important to those that are creating the game. And for those that are telling you otherwise, you're on the wrong channel. You're not listening to the right people, and you need to voice up against that, because that is what is killing the game. And we want this game to be successful. So in order for this game to be successful, we have to fight this kind of very elitist, like you're wrong and I'm right kind of attitude. And they cloak it in fact, like, oh, this is the facts. And the funny thing is when a game is in development, these facts change all the time. So anyway, I like to be able to give you this type of commentary. If you appreciate it, check out my Patreon page. Thank you so much for your support here on this channel. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy these videos. I love the game. I want it to be a successful game, and I think your voice does matter. It definitely does on my channel. So tell other people, share the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next vid.